Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for tuning in to another episode of Generational Wrestling Podcast. As always, is yours truly, the 28-year-old piece of gold, the franchise, aka the showstopper, better known as the G.O.W's resident tribal chief. With me, as always, I got my tag team partner, my brother, my family. He is the flyest in the room, Mr. 1, 2, 3. Pin that ass down. K Breezy, aka
My brother, the motherfucker I forgot. That's who I am, man. I'm the dude he forgot, man.
Hey,
I'm the other half of the G.O.W, man.
dude.
What's good with y'all, man?
I do. I feel like Joe Biden with an MK Ultra glitch. I don't know what the. I don't know what just happened right there. It was like I knew what I wanted to
Man.
say, but the words just wouldn't come out quick enough. I seen that you looked a little confused at the beginning of the show when I
Oh,
played
man.
the intro. I know we got a new intro. My silly ass forgot to upload the new one, so we had to be stuck with the old one. I seen the
Right,
confusion in your face when
I'm
I hit
like,
it. I'm like, oh damn, my bad. I forgot to
man, what's going on, man? You forgetting a new intro? You forgetting who I am, man, bro? I feel some type of way, franchise. I'm just telling you that right now.
man.
I already felt some type of way. Now I really feel some type of way, man. I feel like you're vincing me, man. Are you catering me, man? You putting me in the catering, man?
Nah,
Is you
man,
trying
nah,
to
nah,
you trying to flash you like the too cold, man?
nah.
That's what I feel like is going on right now, man.
Nah, it was Daniel, man. I'm gonna get to your question in a minute. Well, we're gonna get to your question in a minute, but nah, man, dude, just me being me. I swear, sometimes I want to say, I'm a blind in the black man's body. It is what it is. Sometimes, I would lose my head if it wasn't attaching up to my shoulders right now, and I ain't really got no
A
neck to it. I mean, it
blind.
ain't really got far to go. But it is what it is, man. But with that being said, before we get ready for tonight's AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite, which you will be the host of when that time comes. We're gonna talk a little bit of wrestling news and rumors. Some WWE, some AEW, some Impact Wrestling. And with that being said, man, so one of the first people I want to talk to you about tonight is, of course, Alexa Bliss, man, the goddess herself, former WWE Women's Champion, former Tag Team Champion as well. The goddess, dude. So the rumor is, she and Vince McMahon, they had a talk. Not Vince. Alexa has expressed her displeasure with creative so far. She's not excited for what they have or lack of what they have for her. They brought her back for a brief second during Elimination Chamber after not really being seen for a while. They had some not Firefly, excuse me. They had the little playground segments, which looked like, once we got out of therapy, we're going to return her back to the Golden Goddess. And after Elimination Chamber, after that hell of a match she had, we haven't seen her since. Too cold, man. What are your thoughts on Alexa Bliss? And, just the rumors that she talked to Vince. She expressed her unhappiness. And for Alexa Bliss isn't just another WWE superstar. She's somebody who, when the women's division outside of the Four Horsemen really got kicked off in the gear, in 2015, moving forward, she was one of those women who were getting pushed heavily,
Right,
constantly, frequently. And not
right.
only is she a good character, but she's a pretty good wrestler and a good promo as well. How is it that WWE has seemingly dropped the ball with her?
Ah, because they haven't figured out a way to convert her, and then they
What
don't
up,
know
man?
what
What
to
up,
do
Joe?
with her because right now, this is part of the reason why we're on tonight. Uh, Part of the reason that you see such a change in WWE is not partly due to them realizing that, well, it is partly due to that. Let's let the cat out the bag, man. It's AEW. Okay. As much as people want to crap on what AEW is, you can't disregard what they have done and the way that they're making WWE change up their programming.
Yeah.
They've talked shit about it. They put NXT up against it and they couldn't do anything with it. They moved NXT and it still didn't do anything. We see what NXT has become now. It got so bad that Vince is now running NXT. Okay. And we see what it is. The level of competition, as much as Vince wants us to believe that people want to see the entertainment, and which I mean by entertainment, meaning goofy segments, that stuff, like that's the more core. People want to see wrestling. There's a reason why Cody Rhodes is back in WWE. There's a reason why he left WWE. And there's a reason why AEW is there. So when you look at someone, and I say all of that because when you look at someone like Alexa Bliss, who one is over, two, she's already proven that she can go, and no matter if she's heel, face, whatever, man, she can do it.
Yeah.
So there's really no excuse. It's not like she hasn't been around. It's not like she hasn't, been like, I understand the Fiend character gimmick for what that was, but once Bray Wyatt left, you should have had her off TV for a couple of months and then brought her back. And you could have just pretended like, she's been in some type of sleep coma where she doesn't remember anything. You could have, I mean, you're WWE.
But you
You
gotta
were
think
going to
about it.
do anything
That's
stupid anyway. I
but,
mean, the therapy sessions was one thing. So, I mean,
but
you
yeah,
could have did something and then just
but you
brought her back.
but see, that's the thing. You had an out with that though, right? You had an out because you kept her off TV. Okay, she comes back, she goes to therapy, she realizes, okay, blah 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 blah. Boom. How hard is it to make her the goddess again? Or
It's
another
not hard
character?
at all. It's not hard at all because if it's, well, we don't know who we want to put her up against. Man, you got a plethora of people, of females that you can put her up against. To be honest, as many women as you can have her beat a couple of them and just kind of get a few wins under her belt and let her build herself back up. She could still be, however Alexa is. She could just be Alexa. People would be
Right.
excited to see that because it's her, because people want to see her. So if she's frustrated because she knows her worth and she feels like, especially right now, when you have the fluctuation of really just rotating Charlotte and Becky. I mean, Becky's just got back. She's been back for about a year almost now. About not really about 9 months. She came back at SummerSlam, so she's still, but she got back. So you had Flair, we got Sasha, you got Belair. You did right by Belair. You pushed a new star to the moon, and then you pushed her to the moon again. I'll give you props for that. But you needed to do that. You got others, but you've been having Liv Morgan and what was it? Sky Blue, whatever. Who was the chick that was rolling up Natalia 3 weeks in a row?
Oh,
I don't
not
even
Sky
remember her
Blue.
name, man.
You talking about Cora Jade?
Yeah. You had so many other women just doing nothing, coming out and doing nothing and wasting time. You could have had Alexa Bliss. You looking for somebody else to make some noise. She's right there.
Yeah.
Right there. A legitimate champion. Somebody that if someone can beat them and prove that they're actually worthy, that would be somebody credible that people could buy. Oh wow, she had a one-on-one with Elizabeth and she won, whoever she is. But she's right there. Like, so it's not like you couldn't do something. It's not, but you decided to go with the therapy sessions. Okay. But that led to nowhere.
Yeah.
It led to nowhere. And it really just seemed like you had nothing to do, but you just did something. And now you got nothing. And she's frustrated because it's been more than enough time. It's been more than enough time.
What up,
What's going on,
Kev?
Kevin?
Really quick, man. I just want to say shout outs to Daniel, Joe, Benjamin, Kev, Joe. If I didn't say your name already, what's happening?
All of my what's up, y'all? What's up, man? What's up, y'all? Getting
Yes,
ready
sir.
for that
Yes,
Wednesday
sir.
night dynamite. Y'all know
Come
what it
on, man.
is.
You already know we getting ready for that Wednesday night action. Speaking of Alexa Bliss, man, somebody who she was more recently involved with, storyline wise, of course, is the Fiend Bray Wyatt himself. Bray Wyatt, ever since getting let go of from WWE, what, a little over a year now, he's been out and about doing this whole Cult of Wyndham thing, and just pretty much, seemingly being the father, being the husband, enjoying life outside of the square circle. But it has been reported that if he does come back to WWE or AEW,
Mm-hmm.
they gonna need to break the bank for your boy. Too
Mm-hmm.
Cold, man. Never say
Mm-hmm.
never in wrestling. Recently, we just got
Mm-hmm.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, who says he feels 100% after WrestleMania. And next year, if they want him back, he will be back. Tuco. With that being said, we got CM Punk returning for the first time after 7 years. You got Edge on the semi-permanent schedule for the time being. Never thought we'd see him. You got Bryan Danielson, who came back after I think about 3 or 4 years. Never thought we'd see that happen. Paige is a possibility. With that being said, Bray Wyatt, one of the most over people, characters
Man,
in the
man,
history of the sport. When you got
man.
people like the Undertaker, the Dead Man himself saying, I hope one day he comes back home. That's been this man's home for over 30 years. For this man to sit up there and tell you to be compared to a man like him, a legend like him, an entity like him, and he says, hopefully he comes back home. Bro, do we see Bray Wyatt coming back to professional wrestling? More specifically, do we see him coming back to the WWE anytime soon?
I would say very possibly. And let's look at it this way. Okay. Um, Bray knows his worth. He has an eye for who he is and how he can be presented. He has proven that. You cannot disregard that. So now, are you saying is this wrestling all that great? Hey, yes and no. When he was Bray Wyatt, he moved a little more. He did a little more. Yeah, he had his little antics that he did, but he did more in the ring. As the Fiend, it was the Fiend was something different. So if he comes back, I wouldn't mind Bray Wyatt coming back as the cult leader. Like I wouldn't mind that
Yeah.
return for him. Like I feel like that would be the return for him. Like that's if he comes back to WWE, come back that way. Like all right, y'all, fireflies. You know what I'm saying? Come,
Right.
oh my God, the people will go bananas. With that being said, also him going to a new company and presenting something new but similar or different is a huge intriguement also because it gets to show his range and what he can do and how he can get himself over. So you have those two possibilities. Again, the question is who's willing to pay the money? Who's willing to put up the creative control? Who's willing to the merchandising rights and all that other good stuff? Who's willing to put up that money? That's the huge question there. And honestly, both companies would benefit if there's something there that he could do. With WWE, it's more of a sure thing because again, he could just return as the character that we know him to be.
Right.
And AEW is more of a gamble because he has to present something new. He's got to present something. It's just something just a bit new that doesn't seem so imitating that
Yeah.
it can't be seeming it can't be almost identical to what he did in another company. So uh I can see Bray possibly going back to WWE. It'll be almost a year coming up soon. He says he wants to. Everything just has to be right. So, like I said, all that stuff I named and a few other things that he probably wants. Yeah, it's got to be right. It's got to be right, man.
Well, speaking of right, man, Tuco, one of our favorite tag teams, one of the best in the world, recently dubbed 6-star FTR. We got formerly
Hmm.
known as the Revival, man. Bro, FTR. So the rumor mill has been swirling, that WWE is in fact interested in possibly bringing back FTR. Now, going back to the moniker and the mantra, never say never, you got Cody Rhodes, who we never thought at this stage of his career, this early into AEW's inception, we'll go back to WWE this soon. I think we've all kind of had our thoughts. Maybe MJF might have been the first real big star to hop over, but instead it's been Cody. But we got interest on both sides from multiple people, from multiple companies, from both companies, I should say. But FTR, man, FTR was a team that we said we felt was massively underutilized in WWE. Kind of got off
Hmm.
to a slow start at AEW, but now, man, it seems like they are the tag team of the year as they are collecting belts left, right, here, there, everywhere. Me and you, we had a conversation earlier, man. What are your thoughts on WWE's possible interest in FTR and what that says to former WWE talent and new talent moving forward?
It's ironic that once again, a company giving any type of competition makes
Mhm.
WWE straighten up and act right.
Of course.
And I think that's the best way I can say that because when WCW took over and it was them, it forced WWE to straighten up and act right, find a new way. Once they took over, they had the monopoly. TNA, I wouldn't even say TNA was competition, but it was just something else. It was something different. It had something unique, which brought people to it until they got rid of it, and it was just overfilled with all the old wrestlers and anybody who from anywhere and every and all that. But uh, with AEW, it's AEW is nothing more than just the a more professional, independent promotion. It's not and nor will it ever be WWE. It's gonna take a long time for it to be. It's gonna have to at least go 30 years strong. 30 years strong to even be say, hey, okay, now you know what? You've been around for about 30 years. You ain't went nowhere. You've been going hard. You know what? Yeah. All right, man. Y'all finally made y'all do. Like AEW is gonna have to put in some work. No doubt about it. But when you look at WWE and what they've been for the last few years, and then you look at all the talent that they got rid of, and then you look at the reasoning that they gave behind it, and we talked about Bray Wyatt, but what was the reason why they got rid of Bray Wyatt? Well, the reason why they got rid of Bray Wyatt was because he was difficult to work with, and issues with creative and all and his character and what he wanted to do and what they wanted him to do and all that other stuff. So you had that, and then that was the reason for letting go your highest merch seller. All right, so this is what we're supposed to buy, but you let go all of these people, and they go somewhere else. Cody Rhodes is the prime example of this because he left WWE because Vince wanted to push him as the second coming of Goldust. We got Stardust.
Yeah. Oh. Oh, where you
Wearing
at?
polka dots.
There you go.
I mean, he was wearing polka dots. I mean, the man was winning world championships everywhere else. He comes here, he's wearing polka dots and dancing and just and it was entertaining, but at the same time, those of you who knew, you knew, like, man, he's bigger than this. He's bigger than this. Dustin Rhodes, we saw what happened to him. He became the Goldust. There was a moment in time where he seemed legit and he character was unique and it was different, but it turned out to be what it turned out. And then you got Cody. Cody started off hot. He came in with legacy. He was winning the tag team championships. Then he won the Intercontinental Championship, and he had a good run as a singles star as the Intercontinental Champion. Dash and Cody Rhodes, man, that was the best Cody Rhodes had did. Once he became the Stardust thing, and we saw where that went, and he left. He left because he didn't feel like, and Vince didn't feel like he was a main event talent. He wasn't that good. And guys sometimes have to do that. I'll throw this at you. Do you believe, let's say Cody Rhodes leaves WWE, he still becomes the star that he is. He still builds his name up going through all the different promotions. Do
Right.
you believe he still goes back if there's no AEW? But let's just say all the stuff enough of the stuff that he's done, he's been able to do it in other places through the 6 years, through the whole time he's been gone. And then he comes back as a main event. Do you think he could still do that? Do you believe that without AEW?
Do I believe he could and would? Yes. Do I
Yeah.
believe? Do I believe it will have as big of an impact? No. And this is why I'm gonna say that Cody Rhodes,
Mm,
when he left WWE or when he got released, I should say,
right.
he made it his sole mission. He announced it. This guy
True.
came out with a whole list of wrestlers from each and every company outside of WWE that existed that he wanted to face and beat before that even coming back was even an option, right? One. Two, now Cody Rhodes didn't come back, and he was not just another wrestler to go to another company. Cody Rhodes was one of the EVPs. He had a management position. A lot of the people who were brought into AEW were brought in because of Cody Rhodes and his input and his thoughts. A lot of the early storylines that happened was thanks to input of Cody. Now, of course, you had Omega and the Bucks and Tony obviously signing off, but then you also had the influence of Jericho as well. So Cody Rhodes, you know, Cody Rhodes outside of Chris Jericho, if you want to look at it from a mainstream perspective, or you know, somebody who's got a quote unquote a name outside of Chris Jericho at the very beginning, your biggest star was Cody Rhodes. You know, so and then on top of that, you got to look at Cody Rhodes helped facilitate something that was not a possibility or hadn't been seen since WCW. As much as people love Ring of Honor, WWE was never threatened. As much as people love New Japan, nobody was never threatened, right?
Yeah, they were taking all their stars. Shit.
But then you get AEW. Before AEW even had their first show, you had AEW people, or you know, people in WWE wearing AEW shirts getting banned, getting kicked out. You got AEW signs back when it was a so-called T-shirt company, because all they had was one pay-per-view, which is technically a Ring of Honor event anyway. And then you look and see, okay, the first 6 months of AEW, first 6 months in, you get hit by the pandemic. That should have knocked their ass off the map. But no, what does AEW do? Okay, you know what? We're going to keep paying guys. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep having TV shows. We're going to move from Atlanta to Jacksonville. Okay, guess what? People in New Japan, you guys need work? Come on over. People in Impact, you need work, come on over. People in Ring of Honor, you need work, come on over. Because guess what?
that Impact, but it was just, but I was just keeping it to Cody, like just like whether or not like it, like I feel like if he did all of that, if he had the same success without AEW, I feel like he would have had that opportunity like he does now. That's all.
But that's what I'm getting to. My thing is, if he would have done everything he did in these other companies outside of AEW, yes, but he still wouldn't have the leverage he has now. That's the thing. Okay. Because him going to wrestle in New Japan, that's cool. Him going to wrestle in Ring of Honor, that's cool. But guess what? WWE still gonna pay people what the fuck they want to pay them. You know, and guess what? At the end of the day, okay, yeah, you could say go to New Japan, you could say go to Ring of Honor, you could say go to anywhere, this, that, and the third, but they aren't major players in the way that AEW is. What Cody did in AEW, okay, motherfuckers don't mind. You know, Impact was in, maybe I might go to Impact. Now motherfuckers would gladly go to AEW, and vice versa. You got people in AEW who would gladly go to Impact. You know, I mean, go to WWE. You know, WWE wouldn't even acknowledge Impact Wrestling for the longest. AEW in 3 years, you have no choice. Within the first 6 months of television, you got AEW getting name dropped by Sami Zayn. So, and it's because of the impact of a guy.
Yeah,
like,
but we saw what happened with that too. So,
we seen it, but Cody, he went out there, and this is kind of why I'm starting. Even though I don't like the way WWE goes about their firings and stuff like that, it's not my company. But a guy like a Cody Rhodes, a guy like a Matt Cardona, these two have given me hope. Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley feeling to get older. There is hope in getting fired from WWE, because you can go out here and make a big name for yourself. But I feel like, honestly, to answer your question and get, move forward, without AEW, do I feel like Cody had the leverage to come back and be the same Cody Rhodes he was? Hell no. Do I feel like, Cody will be in the main event world title picture? Absolutely not. IC title at best. But I feel like this one, and you got to look at what he's done outside of AEW. The Go Big Show. I mean, this guy, everything he's doing from a managerial standpoint, even when he wasn't in the ring, Cody Rhodes was the John Cena, literally, of AEW. When they needed a person to go do media, who was there? Cody. When they needed a new show on fucking TBS or TNT, who was there? Cody. Cody is the ultimate company guy. The thing is, he was able to prove that with AEW. So now Vince got somebody who knows he's reliable.
And not just prove that with AEW, but just prove that, and everywhere he went, that he could be that type of guy. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not like Cody didn't know the business. He's the son of the plumber. I mean, come on,
yeah,
man. The dude knew the business. He just knew what Vince thought was right wasn't right.
yeah,
And he wanted him to show him that, give me that opportunity like you're giving all these other guys that are crap, that I'm 10 times better, but
yeah,
because they have a certain look that you want to push them more, but you're not going to do much with them. They're just going to be 15 minutes of fame and then you're going to kick them to the side like you
yeah,
did with so many people. But my overall point, I just wanted to ask you that random question.
yeah,
But okay, so okay, Cody leaves. He does what he does. He goes to AEW, or better yet, him, Tony Khan, and the Bucks, and all them. They come up with the idea. They all come together. The business plan comes together. Chris Jericho signs. Moxley comes over. You got a couple of big name players, but you got a whole bunch of independent guys. When you
yeah.
look at WWE and when you look at their roster is nothing but independent guys.
Mm-hmm.
All of these guys, Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, name a guy. Only Roman Reigns may be one of few that didn't really go too many other independent places. He might have just started through the WWE, farm system
FCW.
and came
Yeah,
up. So it's like, all right, he came up, he's homegrown. But you got so many of these other guys that are in the company now that have come from independent, and you got some that are homegrown now. But at the same time, it's not like AEW. I don't know. I guess for me, people. I guess some people feel like to me, it feel like people feels AEW is supposed to find some way to automatically be where WWE is right now, instead of just looking at it for what it is.
yeah,
It's just a bigger independent promotion. Its purpose is to put out the people that Vince McMahon won't give opportunities to. Like that's what AEW is. Yeah, it's gonna have its. I mean, dude, we just did a review last week, and we'll do one probably tonight. Where yeah, we're gonna talk about some good things that happened with the show, but we're gonna probably talk about some things that went wrong with the show that we didn't like. And but that's fair because everything they do isn't perfect, but they put on a more quality show, and some people just don't see it. I feel like maybe it's because they're just so used to WWE. Like you
you
can accept that BS. It's like you accept the BS you know than whether the BS you don't know.
well that too, and this is the kind of and this is the way I look at it, right? I kind of look at it like this: WWE is the major leagues,
Of
AEW
course,
is
a minor league. It's a
semi-pro.
minor
I'll
league.
put it that way. I'll put it semi-pro, right? So
Yeah,
it's like,
okay.
AEW is a place, right, where okay,
I go there.
say you're not good enough to be a first round pick, or say the perception is you're not good enough to be a first round pick or a walk on or whatever the case may be. All right, so AEW gonna let you redshirt it. That's where you gonna go, and that's where you're gonna prove yourself. So you might have to work a couple darks, you might have to work a couple rampages, or whatever the case may be. But guess what? AEW is also a big enough stage. So okay, you might not be on the NFL level. You might be in the Canadian Football League, whatever the case may be. But guess what? There's enough eyes on the product where if you're good enough, you're going to get their attention. And that's
Yeah,
and that's what AEW is. And at the same time, AEW is like you say, let's call it what it is. And the scope of it and the technicality of it, it's a professional promotion. But if you want to be honest in the eyes of the fans, it's really a glorified independent, like you said. That's really what it is.
it really, really. That's what it
It,
really
it,
is.
it is a company full of misfits just with a professional budget. That's really what it is.
It
That's
is.
really what it is. But at the same time, like I said, you can't disregard AEW has something that's missing from WWE, and that is a flame, that is an excitement, that is a pure bell to bell that we haven't seen on a mainstream level in quite some time. WWE, even with NXT, not what it was. Even with SmackDown, the wrestling show, air quotes, not what it was. AEW, bell to bell. You're gonna have a lot of botches, yes, but you expect for the most part, wrestling. And when it comes to professional wrestling, that's what the fuck the hardcore people want to see. The storylines is cool, but we want to see wrestling. And that's what AEW has a lots of, and nobody wrestles the same.
No, they not no. Well, some don't. But overall, man, what my point being is the fact that you have a guy like Cody Rhodes who left the company, made it on his own, showed that not only does he have the business mind, and not only has a wrestling mind inside the ring, but he has the wrestling business side to run a promotion and to help build a promotion and to run stuff. And he had a lot of success. He also had a lot of failures. There's quite a few wrestlers that Cody Rhodes, man, he did not do so well with. And he was
Anthony
not
Ogogo.
perfect. He was not perfect, but he did enough good to get the right attention. And he deserved it. But that was his purpose. His whole purpose was to do that. So him coming back wasn't a failure on AEW because like I said before, and we said this in other episodes, I don't feel that was ever truly the real game plan. The plan was do this thing with AEW, we'll rock it, and then when the opportunity precedes itself, we'll look at the option. It preceded itself. He looked at the option. Tony was like, no, but at the same time, again, I can understand Tony's perspective. It's 3 years in, man. He's only willing to pay guys so much money. So
Right.
guys only gonna make, and he look like he's only giving guys 2 to 3 year deals anyway. So you got to, I mean, look, he's making money, but he's also losing money. You know what I'm saying? So he's trying to build the company, still build the company up. And with the guys and the people that they have, yeah, man, some of them are going to come in and they're going to win a lot, but they're also going to put over people. And guys got to look legit. You can't have a company where because these guys wrestled in this company, they're just gonna win all the matches. Like, nah, man, that's not how that shit works. But we got Rampage coming on right now. Franchise, man, it's always good talking with the people, man. But yeah, man, Cody Rhodes, FTR, all of that is the reason why WWE has attention on them, is because they left, went to another company, and proved that they can cut promos and they can put on interesting matches if you allow them to be them. And that's going to be the interesting thing. How many of these guys are you going to bring back to the company, considering now you want to change everyone's names up?
Right.
So, but that's another conversation for another day. So, my guy, since we got Rampage coming on, I don't know what's going on right now. It's acting funny, and I like
Right.
it don't want to come on.
When you watch this, for some odd reason, CM Punk just came out the heel tunnel. But we'll talk about that when we do the review.
Oh shit. It's giving me problems. But yeah, we'll talk about that in the review, man. But go ahead and send it home, man. I gotta figure this out so I can watch.
Yes, sir. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for tuning in to another episode of Generational Wrestling Podcast, man. Come back in. Main event time. We'll be here with the
Oh,
G.O.W's
yeah, for
AEW
sure.
Wednesday Night Dynamite review. And with that being said, man, we'll see you when we see you. Peace.